Hello, shooters, loaders, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night Live stream. We're glad you're here. I got, I am swamped with stuff we're going to talk about. What's up, Kyle? Do that thing you do, brother.
Glad to see everybody in the side chat, and the panel is sun with stars. Who just echoed? Anyway, the panel is stunned with stars, and we can't wait to get into what we're doing. I have created a new reloader. My buddy from Las Vegas has left and headed back out west, and he's been shooting me messages and all kinds of stuff, won't know which way to go. And I've just been saying, get in the basics, and we've made a new reloader.
Good job.
With that, I'm going to send it down to Walter.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kyle. I'm happy to be here. I thank you all for inviting me once again to take part in this panel. This is always a favorite activity for me on Friday nights. I look forward to it all week. I got 3 more days to spend in YouTube jail, and then we'll be back after it. I'm still putting stuff up on Rumble, and I've got a video uploading as we speak. The next Henrys and Handguns is going to be up on Rumble, and I'll put that one on YouTube come Monday. So happy to be here, everybody. Who do we want to talk to next? We want to go this way? Let's go over to this guy.
Howdy, Gene.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good to be here. Good to be here. My second favorite night of the week. Yes, it is. I'm ready for some schooling tonight. Let's get it on.
Well, we'll keep going through the room, and I'll introduce our guest tonight at the end. Mr. Mark Thomas, pleasure to see you, brother.
Great to be here. Thank you much. Thanks for the invite. Looking forward to the topics tonight. Been a good week. Weather's been great here. Just haven't had a lot of time. I've been itching to cast 2 new molds, and I think I have a couple more on the way. Not here yet, but they're on loan from the Scotsman. And we're going to start putting some loads in that new 44, new to me 44.
That's cool. Mr. Hillbilly Up.
Hey guys, man, I always appreciate you guys having me on here. Such a fun time. Always a rock and rolling side chat. Just a lot of fun here. And I'm ready to be educated tonight. You guys always educate me, and I appreciate that. And just staying busy with videos and all that stuff. And, I just excited about the night. We can have some fun, and I'll just pass on to my good buddy there, the Scotsman. Here you go, buddy.
Good to be here. Happy Friday, everybody. Good to be here. Good to see everyone. And always appreciate being here. This is how you know it's Friday, right here.
Amen, brother. Thanks for being here. CW, how are you doing, brother?
Hello, everyone. Glad to see you here. Glad to be here. Glad to see everybody. Welcome our guest. And I had a pretty good week for me. Rough week for my wife, but we got through it. We're at Friday, so let's hope we have some improvements over the weekend. I wanted to do a couple videos, but I only got a couple of shorts out, kind of teasers. I worked them as, so I got my last part in for my last teaser, so I can get some of that done, hopefully over the weekend, and get a video out. And looking forward to our topics tonight. And back over to you, Jamie.
I want to introduce and welcome Mr. Armand Naxis. He's been he's nothing new to YouTube. He's been around the block a while, but this is our first time having him on with us, and I want to give him a warm Georgia Shooting Connection welcome. And when I say warm, it's 80 degrees and 60% humidity. Welcome to Georgia, Armand Naxis.
These are because of Scotsman. I don't have the beard. I just got the mustache, but I'm going to take them off because I can't see anything. Thank you for the welcome. I'll put on these glasses. Now I can see. Yeah, first time being here. What's up, brother? You and
Glad
me
you
and
could
Welcome,
make it.
Chris.
Gene, Ohio, we need to get together. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, I am no stranger to this channel. Thank you. First time being here, and let's get into this. My week's been busy. Heck, life's been busy, but gotta have time for the fun stuff, and this is fun stuff. So
Well, we're glad you're here, and thanks for joining us.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to take just a second to thank all of the panel members tonight because it wouldn't be much of a show if it was just me, Kyle, and CW sitting around chewing the fat. But with that being said, I thank all y'all for joining in and contributing to Georgia Shooting Connection. And I want to especially thank our viewers, all the guys in the side chat, and even the guys that may be watching out there that don't make any comments or anything. You're welcome too. Thanks for watching. And something hit me Wednesday night from Chris in the 740 is there's a lot of folks out there that can't watch us on Friday nights, and they might watch in the replay. So we probably need to welcome those guys too. So come on in, pull up a
Yeah,
chair.
it's a real good point.
Let's chew the fat a little bit. Our first topic tonight was something that was brought up at the end of the show last week, and we wanted to get into and give it the attention that it deserves. And that's the differences between pistol and rifle, or more specifically, straight wall as opposed to bottleneck. And it's a different world. They really can't hardly be compared. So, who wants to start that discussion?
I'll
Don't
start it.
everybody talk?
Well,
um,
Well,
I said I'd start it. Jamie and I talked a little of this, and we both been reloading for a long, long time. And there's just so many things. For one, pistol, your powders, depending, unless you're in big magnum pistol, but your powders, man, when it comes to rifle, case length, burn rate, and I can tell you one thing. I had a 22 250 single shot rifle. We nicknamed it my laser gun because it got to the point that it was a 50 grain nozzler ballistic tip with 40. It was we'll get to but it was just under max. That rifle didn't like max. Shooting a woodchuck or a groundhog, whatever you want to call them, in the eye at 250 yards was just normal. That was just normal. It was so flat shooting, but finding that load, I had a spiral binder, page after page after page. You're always looking for the perfect load when it comes to rifle loading. And when you get into it, and one of the things that I stress to anybody is you got to trim your case neck. Bottleneck cartridges are infamous for every time you fire them. It's just like when you hammer a piece of metal, it's got to go somewhere. And every time it fires, it's hammering that metal. It's got to go somewhere. Where does it go? The neck. And if you want a consistent round, you got to trim the neck almost every single time, depending on the cartridge, but to be consistent. And my brother, Derek, running into issues with his, oh crap, Palmetto State Armory. He bought an AR-10 and 6.5 Creed. It's got a really tight forcing cone. And the rounds that worked in his 6.5 Bolt Savage that shoots one hole perfect, they don't work in that. It wasn't cycling, or it wasn't fully seating. We had to tap the charging handle. I pulled it out and I looked and I saw lines on the bullet. I said, the bullet's seated too long. Your forcing cone's tight. So there's so many things that go into rifle loading like that. It's just, you talk about a can of worms. So I'm going to let that go and y'all have fun because what I've learned.
Yeah. When you're doing straight wall and pistol, um, you just run it through a sizing die and inspect, inspect, inspect. When you get into bottleneck, everything matters. And C&T Designs is out there asking me a question, brother. If I was any better, I'd be twins. I'm so much better than I deserve. Thank you for asking. So I know Viejo was starting to say something. What do you got to say about it, Otis?
Well, I was going to mention that we do have a few cartridges here and there in the handgun / rifle world that might be called a hybrid, and here's one of them. This one is almost a bottleneck. It's like a wannabe bottleneck. That's the 4440 cartridge, and it does have a little bit of a bottleneck to it. Here's a 44 mag cartridge right next to it. So it's real similar in size, but maybe just a little bit longer than a 44 mag cartridge. The bases are real similar in diameter. But that guy is not a real popular cartridge, and most folks are not likely to run into it. I've got a couple of firearms that I shoot with these. So this one, it will grow a little tiny bit, but this particular case has been fired about 4 times, and it doesn't need to be trimmed yet. And the case wall out at the mouth of these are notoriously thin. They're about half the thickness of a 44 mag cartridge. I think you can see that thickness.
That's a good shot right there.
Yeah, anything you
Wow.
do that messes around with the case, and these are both Starline cases, incidentally, so they're the same manufacturer. Anything you do to that case mouth, including trimming it, is you kind of run the risk of boogering it up. So I've never trimmed these 4440 cases.
That case, if the other one's a 44 mag.
There's a 44 mag. Yep.
So is that case made from the 44 mag, or is it a neck down? I'm just curious.
No, you might be able to, but the diameter is actually a little bit different.
Yeah, it's too small.
I've never messed with them. That's why I'm asking. This is how we learn. Oh yeah, head. Yep. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So they're not quite the same. Shell holder size will kind of get to you. The 4440 will go into a 44 mag shell holder, but not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting thing. If they get a little long, do you trim? And I tried trimming a couple of them of these guys at one point, and the trimmer just kind of wants to bite those case mouths and chew them up if you're not real careful with it. So I don't even chamfer the edges of new cases with these guys. There's just not enough meat there to deal with. So that and we have some other similar bottleneck pistol cases where the bottleneck is much more acute than this one. In fact,
also a rifle round
on one today. Yeah. We shoot these out of rifles too. So
yeah.
It's a rifle round. It's considered a rifle.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the 3840?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran into a bunch of that brass at work. I had never seen anything.
The original 10 millimeter.
Yeah, it's actually a 40 caliber. But it's
the original 10 millimeter.
And it's got that real hard taper in it.
Same case as a 4440, just neck down.
Pretty cool. I get to see a lot of cool stuff at work. Stuff I never knew about.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, mentioning that cartridge reminds me of the 300 Blackout. A very, it's a trimmed 223, and that's very slight bottleneck, and that kind of popped into my head. That's all I was going to say.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. I was going to say there's several
funny
cases that the one that pops in my mind quicker than 300 blackouts. I don't own a 300 blackout, but the 35 Remington is like that. A very, very slim bottleneck.
Marvin mentioned a good one, the 357 SIG. It's a pistol
Yeah.
round, but it's loaded just like a rifle. You have to lube the cases and you treat it like a rifle. You read about it.
I've seen that.
Arguably, it headspaces off shoulder where it should, but some people want to headspace it off the case mouth. But it's got a good sized shoulder on it, and as you reload it and start playing with it, you find out that it's best off the shoulder. The Jet is another one. Jet is a 357 case with a very slow tapered shoulder, much like the Hornet, but the Hornet doesn't show it as well. The Jet is a fatter case, and it was designed for a Smith & Wesson revolver, but it didn't work so well because case set back.
I do know that if anybody out there, if you look at the 22 Hornet, it's almost like a funnel with a very small bottleneck. You know what I mean? It's a very weird taper to it. My buddy's got one. I've never owned one, but I've looked at them and Yeah,
it's the old design. The 300 H&H Magnum is a slow tapered shoulder. The Hornet tapered shoulder. There's a number of them out there that are like that. It's old. Today everything is minimum body taper and sharp shoulders for most powder capacity and highest velocity.
That's a good one, Abigail. I'm not familiar with that one at all.
That's a really strange one. That's a strange one. And again,
but it sounds like that if you owned that pistol, you would really need to reload for it because it's probably not a viable cartridge right now.
They're difficult to find. I have that revolver, and I bought dies, but I just haven't played with it yet.
That's why you really got to watch your crimp on that, because that one, the whole thing moves, the whole cylinder moves, pushes it forward to close off the gases. So you got to be real careful with your crimp on those.
That's one revolver that you could put a silencer on and have it work.
Yeah.
Firearms Addict has one in the works.
Yeah. They also have one of their loadings where the brass is very long and the bullet is seated right inside like a wad cutter, but it's not a wad cutter bullet, and it's stake crimped. The bullet is actually staked through the sidewalls of the brass to hold the bullet in place. Pretty neat. Those are the cases you gave me, Gene. Remember those cases you sent me a couple months back? Yeah. Those were Nagant cases.
There's our buddy 762 at it again. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and it shall be given you.
Boy.
There you go.
There's just some cases to play with.
There's just some ammo for 38 Nagant.
That's the factory ammo that I have that I've fired. I just haven't tried to reload any of it yet.
Yeah, Andy's saying would probably do it wrong, so be careful.
So pistol is generally you find pistol rounds are loaded with 3 dies, where rifle rounds are generally 2. And that's because the case mouth swelling to better seat cast bullets. Also, straight wall cases generally can be carbide dies, where you don't generally find carbide dies in non-straight cases, cartridge cases.
Right.
Because you got to size that neck.
Yeah. Yeah. You also don't see sizing expander balls in straight wall cases, just in bottlenecks.
Yeah.
As a rule. Some you do. Sometimes you do.
It's more of it's what would you call it, an anvil, or yeah, yeah, the word escapes me. But yeah, pistol is particularly anybody that's going to start reloading. I always suggest or recommend 38 special because it's pretty straightforward, and I hesitate to say easy because then you start getting careless, and that's the most dangerous thing in any form of reloading is getting careless. Complacency in reloading is our enemy.
Right. And there's less to be concerned with about some of the head spacing issues you can get into with rifle rounds. That 38 is going to head space off right there up against the cylinder, and there's not much you're going to do to affect that. Not only that, but the case length itself for a 38, most folks are going to shoot those out of a 357 revolver, so there's plenty of room. You're not likely to run into trouble with a cartridge that's too long for overall length with a 38 special. It's just and like you said, Jamie, it's not necessarily easier. There's still a lot to pay attention to, but it's simpler. There's not as much going on up at that case mouth with one like that.
Yeah, and don't skip any of your steps because every step is an opportunity to inspect those case necks, those case mouths. Lord knows we all need to do that as many times. Yeah, most all of the bench rest guys and the F class guys, they went through this. They went through this phase where they were neck sizing only, but now I think everybody is full length sizing with a bump. Just and they of course decide what that bump is. My favorite is about 2 thousandths on most of mine.
I experimented a little with neck sizing, and it didn't. No, I did better full length. So I just said, yep, just abandon it. I'm like, nah. I know what you're saying, the bump, and yep, just nope.
Well, let's
Neck
get into
turning
that.
works for some people.
Let's get into that a little more in
Okay.
depth. We'll talk about the steps here. Um, Scotsman, help me out here. Pistol, let's say 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum. Our steps, number one, we want to deprime, clean, dry.
Size.
Some folks like to trim their brass when it comes to 44 or 357.
Yeah, you may want to check it, measure it, and see. But
I've never done it. I've never had an issue yet. Knock on wood. Um, but it is possible. But I shoot a ton of 44, and I've never had a problem. So as far as trimming goes, I've never done that on the 44. But yeah, you want to deep prime, clean, full length size, clean it. That's pretty much all I do with them. I don't do anything crazy with them, and I do a super light crimp, not a heavy crimp, not a super light crimp, just enough. I mean, most of what I'm shooting is going in a revolver, so it doesn't have to be a heavy crimp. Just enough, and anything that's going in a lever action generally is going to have a little bit more of a crimp on it. Just because it's kind of like an AR, for example. You got that big bolt shoving that thing forward, and you got to be careful you don't get any setback. So you want to have a decent crimp on there if you're going to be doing rifles. So you got to play with it when you got 1 and 2 going together.
Yeah, if one of the advantages I see to Magnum pistol trimming the cases like you're talking about is the crimp. is
Yeah,
exactly to have that crimp
consistent,
uniform. Yeah.
consistent, reliable crimps. That's the reason for trimming with
And
straight walls.
and while you're talking about
Generally, you're not going to
those,
grow enough to be a problem for the chamber.
yeah, once is usually plenty on those, don't you think?
Whenever I get a new batch of brass in for 38 or 44s, that's the first thing I do is trim them all to the same length, and then, as you say, Jamie, you usually don't have to do it again. But that'll put that crimp right in the same spot in the crimp groove of your bullet if it's a cast bullet, or into the cantilever of your jacketed bullet if that's what you're shooting. So they'll all be the same, and that tells you that you got the same amount of bullet base below that case mouth, and therefore the same case capacity below the bullet every
A
time.
lot of the case growing is blamed, and bottleneck is blamed on that, pulling the mandrel back through, pulling the expander ball back through the brass. It can be minimized with good clean brass and lubrication, but it definitely happens with straight walls as well, and it's an association with the pressure levels. So if you're shooting like 32 shorts or 32 longs, those are never going to see pressure. 38 specials, those are never going to see enough pressure to really grow from pressure. But 357 mag, 41 mag, 44 mag, 454 Casull, 460 Smith & Wesson, all those big magnums can absolutely see the pressures to hammer out that brass and lengthen it. It's just slower, but it definitely will grow with pressure.
So Michael Dunn's bugging out on us. But yeah, I was trying to get the order thing going. Curtis made a comment about neck expansion, and I got my own ideas about that. Maybe we'll get into that in a few minutes. But as far as the order of things, if you're
Good night,
going to
Mike.
trim it, if you're going to trim it after you size it. Always. Well, that's true for rifle anyway. And then after you clean it, we had a good point. Um, I forget who said it. It might have been Walks. Let's see if I can find it. If you're dry tumbling, Paul Loud. If you're dry tumbling, you probably want to clean first, then deprime to avoid getting media in the primer pockets. And that can be exaggerated if you put some kind of liquid in there, some kind of polish, like so many of us would do back when we did all that. There's Dave Thorzak's. What's happening, man?
Hey, Dave.
And yeah, um, but yeah, when you go to the bottleneck side of rifle cartridges, there's a whole lot more steps, and the order needs to be in line. Of course, Curtis said there's all kind of different approaches out there, and there is. What you need to do is get your method down, and then go about doing it.
Can I say this? Scotsman mentioned crimp. When it comes to crimping, depending on the cartridge, especially bottleneck rifle, for one, if you're shooting a single shot or a bolt action, crimp's not a big issue. If you're shooting a semi-auto, crimp's an issue. You can get much better accuracy depending on the crimp you use. My 300 Blackout, I'm using Lee Collet crimp, so it's a slow compression, seems to work. But if you got to roll crimp it or taper crimp it, your case length has to be pretty darn close if you want consistency. When it comes to pistol cartridge, same thing. Now, if you're shooting out of a revolver, some of those rounds need crimp to gain the pressure, but the crimp isn't, and then when you get into semi-auto, well, the headspace is on the net, or so there's a lot to that. So yeah, that the one thing I was going to mention, we were talking about wildcats. My uncle, my mentor, You mentioned it earlier, 38 special. That was the first cartridge I learned to reload. 5 grains of bullseye, whatever. I can't remember. But he had, it was a Wildcat of a 25-20 single shot, and it was called 22R Lovell. And you had to make them out of the 25. It was a 30-40 Craig rifle. Spanish American War. I don't know where he got it. They sleeved the barrel. It had this old, like Outlaw Josie Wales kind of optic. I sniped a lot of groundhogs with that thing, but the brass trying to find it and everything. But that was one of those cartridges that had that weird bottleneck, just oddball.
Yeah, it's got a tapered.
No, when it comes to crimping,
that Craig looks like a 30-30 longer.
Well, this was not a Craig. This was a sleeved Craig rifle. I wish I had a picture of it. It was like, I don't want to swear, but it was a bastard. It shot really good.
It was popular long ago, in the heyday of wildcatters in the 40s and the 50s.
That's when the cartridge came out. But no, when it comes to case length and crimping, man, you depend. And Jamie, I think you said it. You learn what you learn. You use what you know what I mean, and what works. And if it doesn't work, well, I've always anybody, and I told my brother Derek when he got into reloading, and he's found issues that I warned him about. I said, you're opening a can of worms, because this is a can of worms. Now, if you just want to load this, plink, that, you probably get along all right. You want to get into doing it perfect and doing it right and getting good loads. Yeah, but yeah, the crimp thing, man, that's something that people don't understand. Pressures, a tighter crimp will create higher pressure. So anyway, I'll throw it back to you guys. Just what else we got?
I'm thinking that we've got a discussion going on about crimping. Paul Loud says crimping ain't easy, and it ain't. There's certain rounds. Um, Somebody said they don't crimp at all for any rifle, including their AR-15.
Tommy boy.
I know that. I probably shouldn't have even said that. I'm crimping 223. Anything in that violent of an action gets a crimp from me. But his argument and his statement is proper neck tension. Proper neck tension is key to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I only crimp when I need to, and the gun will usually tell me if I need to. If I want ultimate durability for some reason, tubular magazine type of thing, yeah, I'll crimp for it. But as a rule, I don't crimp either unless I need to.
For my 336s, I'm crimping, and I'm crimping pretty solid. I just do.
I'll say for any of my semi-autos, depending on the round, the 300 I like crimp because it doesn't really need it. But I have found that the Lee factory or taper, they work good because you can adjust them to get that neck tension without. This is something else. When you roll crimp, you got to think about this. When you roll crimp, you're pushing that metal into the cantilever, or even if there's not a can. When you do that, the metal around the lower part of the bullet expands a little bit. So in other words, you don't have. That's why precision rifle shooters don't crimp, because the neck tension is equal. When you crimp, or if you crimp too much, and if you crimp too much, it'll crush the case. But if you crimp, in other words, you're pushing that metal, and it can push that neck just a little bit away from the bullet, and you lose the neck retention. So, but me, semi-auto rifle, I always make sure I put a little bit of a crimp just for security. So
If it's going in one of my leather guns with a tubular magazine, it's getting a crimp. If I'm shooting it out of a bolt action rifle, I'm doing my neck tension as well as I can, and it probably ain't going to get a crimp. Tommy Boy says it
spot on.
distorts the bullet, and that's why I don't do it, and I get that. But yeah. So even 357 Magnum, if it's going in my Rossi lever gun, it's getting a crimp. A good one. You got to think about what's going on there. You got bullets stacked in a line, and you're recoiling and then bouncing back. And
you can get bullet jump in some big powerful magnums just with the inertia like you would with a hammer bullet puller. You can have bullets jump so much in a cylinder that you jam the cylinder up. So some really need it.
I've seen it. I've seen it literally happen on the range. Guy was firing, got 3 rounds off, went to fire number 4, and boom, locked up.
Yep. So it was locked up, and that can happen with something like CW, that 270 grain SAA bullet for 45 Colt. That thing is a long cartridge. Time you seat that at the crimp groove.
Yeah, the heavier the bullet, the more susceptible it is.
Some revolvers, that thing's a little bit too long as it is, and you might only have, if it even fits your cylinder, only have a couple thousandths left over before it will protrude from the end of the cylinder and lock things up. So you got to have it crimped pretty well in that case too, for the long bullet in a revolver anyway.
May I interject? And I feel like I'm talking too much tonight, but we're 40 minutes into this thing and we have not called out the side chat yet. So everybody type in 38, and we'll call your name out on YouTube. We got Spectre Solutions out there. And so we got Viejo Walter. I swore I wasn't going to do that, Walter. Anyway, got CW, the Scottish American, M. Gabriel, 6-shooter Texan, William C. Chapin, Hillbilly Up, Spectre Solutions, GGW Outdoors, Vanessa Kitty, Reloader 762, Mark Thomas, Bobby Barlow, Abigail Finnegan, Ricky Baird, what's up, brother? M. Gabriel, Andre D'Angelo was out there. Chris from the 740, what's going on, man? Andy, 79Z28, 38. Reloading from the Hot Pot, Edward Petty, Tommy Boy, Info Bros, G23, Bama Dad,
hey,
Andre D'Angelo, Dwayne 7834, Mike Hester, Georgia Shooting Connection, Armament and Axes, Johnny 1982, CNT Designs and Arms, Kyle, Paul Loud, Trees are blowing. What's going on, brother? Walt Fletcher's out there, Floridian, Vanessa Kitty, Ozzy Osborne, Tim S., Tim McDonough. I hope I said that right. Let's do this guy. So, yeah. Vanessa Kitty, Tommy Boy, Mike Hester, Walks Fletcher, Chris 338. And I think that's everybody. Got a good crowd out there.
Yeah, we do. 51 ice show.
Yeah, well, thanks. There's James Pugh, 38. So, yeah, welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. And,
I see some new names.
Anybody else got anything they want to say about bottleneck? Gene, we hadn't heard from you. Hillbilly, we hadn't heard from you.
Hello.
I don't think the bottlenecks that I would be talking about have anything to do with rifles. So they're kind of long neck
That's
bottles.
That's because you're stuck drinking them seltzers there, hillbilly.
Yeah.
We know the truth.
I was gonna
Well,
say,
you
I don't
know
think
darn
hillbillies
right
have
they
to-
do
to
not.
have the same bottlenecks.
They do not make a long neck bottle and seltzer. That'd just be wrong. I mean,
Well,
I mean,
why
yeah,
do they
I'm
call it a
pretty
bottleneck
sure.
cartridge? Look at a bottleneck, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure hard seltzer's just wrong anyway.
used to the long neck bottles was you could only get those at like say a bar or a club. They were not available to public like at the grocery store or whatever. And so
Well, let's see. You guys talking about crimping. I load a lot of 9mm and go through a lot of 9mm shooting events. So I go through thousands of rounds a year. So when I'm setting up one of my I'm just dealing with this 9mm pistol cartridge with this. When I'm setting it up and I'm doing my test rounds, say I'm changing powders or I'm changing my projectile, which I do on occasion. What I don't want to see on a spent cartridge is any blowback. So I will set up, test rounds with, different loads, but also different crimps, whether it's a light, medium, or heavy. And the one I'm not getting blowback with, on the sides of the case, you know what I mean, where it blackens the carbon blackens the side of the case up. I don't want to see any of that, and I find that those are more accurate than if I'm getting any blowback off the sides using no crimp. Some powders like a light, some like a medium, some like a heavy. Now that's my experience with 9mm. Your mileage may differ, but that's what I look for.
Oh,
I
look
look
at
for
that
no
puppy.
blowback and loss of pressure back into the firearm itself. I want all of it going downrange.
What I was going to say is what I found doesn't matter what cartridge. All chambers are kind of different depending on the dies you use. I've owned several 9mm that for some reason didn't matter. You use the same die, one you'd get more blowback. So, but I get what you're saying, and if you're getting blowback, and I mean the burnt stuff on the side, that might be a sign of I wouldn't say high pressure, but fast. That's hard to say, but yeah, I get what you're saying about the crimp, and so can of worms.
Yeah, well, I'm not dealing with high pressure rounds. I'm dealing with minor power factors.
It's generally low pressure that causes sooty cases, because what happens is when you fire the cartridge, the brass seals against the walls of your chamber, and if you don't have a lot of pressure or you don't have enough pressure, you're not getting a good seal. So you've got the pressure is going to inch around the walls of the case because it's not sealed up tight against the chamber, and it usually only happens with lighter.
CW.
Lighter.
Thank you,
lighter
CW. You just refreshed my brain on that because I haven't had that issue in a while. But you're exactly right.
So if you're experiencing it with crimping, Gene, I would say you're probably right on the cusp of pressure. You're probably dealing with really light loads. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you got a good load, you're not going to change it just because of that. And if a crimp solves it for you, great. But if you up the pressure, up the powder a little bit, a tenth or three, you may also eliminate it without having to deal with a heavier crimp.
Oh, okay.
And the needling begins. That's what I've always been taught, that soot on the side of your cases is a sign of a not enough kick in the butt, I guess, for lack of a better word.
If you load powder puff or mouse fart loads or whatever you want to call them, you'll get a lot of sooty cases, and that's when you see it. That's when a light bulb shines really bright and you say, okay.
Now that you mention that, I had a friend of mine. He was they shot wax bullets. They just used primers. Cowboy, and he says, "Here, can you?" Yeah, okay. And I actually used my molds to make wax bullets. And every time he brought his cases back, they were just black. And I loaded them. It was just a primer.
Yeah,
Just
guys
to
that
shoot,
do that
because
generally also find
Yeah,
benefit
so
to drilling out the flash hole, because what'll happen is the pressure is such that the primer backs out, and then it doesn't have enough to seep back into the case, so it'll jam up the revolver. But when they open up the flash hole,
because there's not enough pressure
all because of
to
pressure.
hold the primer in place. Yeah, yep. So I never
But you want
experienced that with his rounds, but yeah, they were, every time he brought them back, they filthy, just filthy. So
to dedicate those cases. If you do that, if you drill the flash holes, just dedicate those cases for wax bullets or glue bullets or whatever you want to call them, whatever you're shooting.
that was
All right, I got
25 years ago, and I don't do that anymore.
I got to do some things here, just house cleaning stuff, if y'all bear with me. First of all, I got to say thanks to the Scotsman because he sent me a mold. This is the Lee 429255 semi wad cutter, and that is remarkably similar, I believe, to the Lee bullet, the 429421. We'll let Walter and CW chime in on that.
It's a good
So-
one. It's a good bullet. I like it too.
And he sent me some 44 special brass. And if y'all, let me show these off right quick. These have already been cleaned, and Scotsman uses the ultrasonic cleaner to do that. So beautiful, Scotsman. Thank you so much, brother. And I'm working on 35 Remington brass from.
Yeah, that was a score and a half. I saw those bags. I said, "Wow, that's awesome."
From Stalker Steve, who is now Steve's Woodworking in Homestead.
You'll always be Stalker Steve.
I know. It's like he had to change his name. Whenever I think of him and I think of that Waylon Jennings song, "This Outlaw Business Done Got Out of Hand."
He definitely hooked you up, and that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and I got some stuff going back his way too, because I need to share some stuff. Earlier in the week, I got home and might have done showed y'all this, and there was a Amazon box, and I opened it up, and I had a box of Jiffy cornmeal mix. And before y'all start side chat, we're not changing this discussion to cornbread, but it says corn muffin mix, and I have made the comment, especially on Tackle Fud's channel when he did the video trying to use this as cleaning medium in his dry tumbler, and the results he got. I made a comment in there. It's official. Jiffy corn muffin mix is absolutely totally worthless for anything.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
So, and when I opened this up, y'all, my wife said, "Who sent you that?" I said, "I don't know," and I knew, but I wasn't going to tell her. And she said, "Well, it must have been a Yankee." And I'm like, "Why would you say that, baby?" And she said, "Because no self-respecting Southerner would ever make cornbread using Jiffy muffin mix."
Preach on it.
I'm like, amen.
We don't make cornbread with it. We make muffins with it.
But
put some blueberries or strawberries or something in there. Make muffins.
I'm getting into that. Hold on a minute. But Gene, in that moment, I was so proud she was my wife.
You betcha.
I was so proud of her, I just wanted to bust wide open. Then later in the week, I got another one. And I got 4 more. But this is muffin mix, not corn muffin mix. This is apple cinnamon. This is raspberry. This is blueberry, and this one down here is banana. We probably won't be using that one, but when I first saw this, I'm like, number one, I'm trying to figure a way to send hard seltzer through the mail. And then when I thought, these would be some good targets when Scotsman and Mock and everybody gets back down here again. We'll shoot these things. And then I started reading it and found out that it was muffin mix, and it says right there on the box, makes great pancakes. I'm like, no, I ain't shooting that. We're gonna have pancakes.
hold on, Kimmy, hold on, 1 second. I'm pretty sure we still got some bean scales we gotta shoot. Why don't we just put it all together and shoot it?
Well,
you have one big mass.
This one we will, but and maybe the banana thing, but yeah. So anyway, Hillbilly Up got me, and I have to eat crow a little bit and realize that Jiffy Mix makes more than cornbread muffin mix. So
yeah. Well, I honestly thought you enjoy shooting that just plain Jiffy the way I enjoy shooting hard seltzer. So.
Oh, I will, and I appreciate it. I'm thinking of shooting that with the greatest cartridge ever conceived by man. Which
Here
is?
it comes. 9mm round
rifle?
nose.
No.
Now, according to Jiffy Mix's website, they do sell buttermilk biscuit mix, fudge brownie mix, golden yellow cake mix, baking mix, pie crust mix. They made Jiffy's got it going on, man.
When did this
Paul
become
Loud,
a
you got it
cooking
right,
show?
brother.
Buttermilk pancake mix. Yeah. When you're in a pinch and you only live near a Dollar General and you want some morning muffins, it's $1. Put them in a bowl. Put them in a bowl, some milk. You
So
like
y'all know
cereal.
what's going to happen this coming week, right? Jamie's going to get a bunch of boxes.
We're about to
in the
have
mail.
Martha
It's
Stewart
all
show
going to
up.
be freaking Jiffy Mix.
I know the bottom's falling out of this chat really fast.
Please don't send me anything else, guys. I just can't. I ain't got room to put nothing else. So, got one more bag we got to talk about. Apparently, I won something from Bubba, or maybe he's just picking on me for a comment I made the other night. And
You already opened it, Jamie?
yeah, I got this really nice knife from Bubba Cyclops, and I want to thank him for this knife. And it's pretty cool, guys. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, check it out.
Ooh.
I got the little thumb hole right there, man. That is a good looking knife. Bubba, I
Holding
appreciate
trend.
this, but I'm afraid that my son is going to confiscate this because he likes that kind of stuff.
That's a beard trimmer, Jamie.
Is that what that is?
Be sure to use that.
That means that he's getting rid of that because there ain't no trimming beards around here or there.
But there's something else in this bag. So we were on, I guess it was Hillbilly's show Saturday night, weren't we? Talking about what we carry, and I made the comment.
Yeah, this started with you.
Right. I made the comment to Hillbilly. I said, But Hillbilly, what do you carry when you're wearing your Speedo at the beach?
I think you directed that towards Bubba, not me.
Yeah,
that was
Bubba.
it, Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba was talking about it, and I'm like, what do you wear when you wear your Speedo at the beach? And guess what else I got in that box?
Oh God.
Oh man.
This being Memorial Weekend, you better be wearing them, Jamie.
Oh, brother.
You
I
bet you
cannot
just in
wait to
time
get
for the
you on the
weekend.
boat.
You know, it's one thing to be on the beach and be laughed at. It's another to be pointed at and laughed at.
And y'all thought we were going to talk about reloading.
I'm sorry, but you model that. I'm out.
No worries, brother. Matter of fact, I'll mail them to you with some Jiffy Mix. How about it?
If he models that, I'm screenshotting, man. That's a video to be made.
Oh gosh.
I want to see the
cannot
unboxing
believe-
video of that, Jamie.
I cannot believe that he said that.
This was the unboxing. So yeah,
Oh good.
yeah. I think if I wore those in front of even my wife, I think she'd throw up in her mouth just a little bit.
She'd point and laugh.
Well, it's like me sending the inflatable midget around the earth. I forget who's got it now, but oh Lord.
Bubba says I won. Let me tell you something, Bubba. This has only begun. Yeah. I love you too, Bubba. I do, man. But fair warning. Bubba and I can do these things. You skinny guys don't need to get involved in this melee because it ain't going to end well. So feel better, Andy. Sorry you ain't been feeling well. And I got a box I'm going to be sending to you, but I'm still trying to decide how I'm going to do it exactly. So I'll send you a tracking number when I send it. Kyle, we got to get this figured out, man. I'm debating on whether I want to go ahead and smelt his zinc for him or just send it to him loose.
I sent him a box shipped out today out of my work. So he'll be getting it next week. I just did one of those anyway ships in the medium shipping box. And that thing, I packed it, man. I was shoving pieces down inside of pieces.
Jamie, do you have a vacuum sealer?
I do.
That's an option for you. Put it in a Ziploc bag and then vacuum seal that and just do a number of packages, and then it'll stay together. You know, you're not going to bust it out and just stack them in there.
Andy says loose is just fine. Okay, man. We'll fill this box up. I'll see if I can do that. So yeah, you can play, Ricky. You passed the test, brother.
Jamie, we'll make it happen, Captain.
All right, man.
I've already started sorting. We'll throw some gloves on and get her done.
10 man, that's the point. They're not undies. If they were undies, I wouldn't have showed them to y'all. I just wore them. Okay? This is swimwear.
I think there's another name for it.
Yeah.
Something with a banana.
Yeah, something about a hammock.
Hammock.
Yeah.
Nanner hammock.
Okay. I'm lost. I've led such a sheltered life.
Try them on and you'll understand.
Yeah, G23 can get it.
You could call it an under the butt nut hut.
Yeah, and I can go click.
For any new people that have jumped in and watching, this doesn't normally happen.
No, it does not usually happen.
Only on Friday nights.
Only on CSX railways does this happen because we are totally off the rails tonight.
Yeah, and we're going to get back on the rail here in just a minute.
I wanted to say something there, and because I think it was Bama had a question back when we were talking about crimping and such reloading, and I'd like to ask him to post that up again because it's way back, and I want to address his question. Bama Dad.
All right.
I didn't want to interrupt us talking, and I totally forgot about it until just a second ago. So, Bama Dad, if you can post up that question again, we'll see if we can get an answer for you.
No, Gabriel, I think after I wear them, I'll just send them to you, buddy.
No,
we're going off the rail. We got
a part of your 1,000 sub giveaway.
Oh, there you go. 9mm should receive taper crimp.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What gets really confusing is what Lee did with their nomenclature, calling everything a factory crimp die. Right. They really muddied the water and didn't do anybody justice. The factory crimp die is a collet style die. It's not a taper crimp and it's not a roll crimp, but they call a number of their tapers factory crimp dies and a number of their rolls factory crimp dies. Just confusing new reloaders. But what you want is a taper crimp. And that's because it headspace is off the case mouth, and you don't want to bury that case mouth in the bullet. Otherwise, you are going to be headspacing off your ejector, your extractor, and it's not reliable. You could have misfires and some problems depending on your chamber.
Oh, y'all have got it started. I'm getting text over here from Ricky. He's ordered something. Golly. I'm trying, Tin Man. Give me just a second. Let me. This is awesome if I can get it to do here. And I can't.
Yeah, Bama. Most die sets are going to give you the proper die, the proper kind of crimp in the die set that you buy for the caliber. Yeah, anything that headspace is off the mouth is going to be a taper. Anything that headspace is on the rim is going to be a roll. But taper is one that needs to be taper when you need it. But where you roll crimp, you could also taper crimp, or you could factory crimp.
And you may get a die set for your 9mm rounds. It's only a 3 die set and doesn't actually have a separate crimp die at all. And that's because the crimp feature would be built into the seating die. And there's a process for that, Bama, that you may already be familiar with on how you would utilize that. So I don't want to go into that here, but not all die sets for semi-auto pistols are going to come with a separate crimp die.
Yeah, usually. As a matter of fact, Lee is one of the only ones that really does come with a separate one. And as much as I'll condemn them for a lot of things, that's something that they did to help new reloaders. Because a number one problem new reloaders have is trying to seat their bullet and crimp at the same time. So Lee came out with that factory crimp die, and in a lot of their die sets eliminated crimping from the seating die. So they force you to do it in a separate step, which is how you're supposed to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, they did a really good thing for reloaders, new reloaders especially.
I've had good luck with Lee stuff. I can say you're right. The factory crimp. Trying to think how many die sets that I bought over the years that you're recommended factory or taper crimp. I know that when I was competing with my 1911 wide body 45 that I built, taper crimp was the way to go. Yeah. So the other thing I was showing off these 175 grain. That's a Lee mold. Um, these were all lubed, and since all of us have been talking about getting into powder coating, and Scotsman and I have talked about this, I basically delube these by boiling them in water. All this stuff, oil rises, wax, but
Yep,
they
skim it
still had
off.
a waxy. But acetone seems to eat it all off. So I'm still in experimental mode with powder coating, but yeah, see where it goes from there. Another can of worms, right?
I forget who was that did it. Maybe Tin Man, but Coleman. No, it was um, I know who it was. I can't think of his name. It's Coleman Fuel or White Gas or Ultra Unleaded does a really good job of cleaning off those bullets.
Was that Timmy Treetop?
No,
Like I said, I bought some acetone. I put a little on a rag and I rubbed, and it was like seemed to work. So
yeah,
we'll go from there. I know
can
that
any of the solvents.
for powder coating, they better be clean. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and like I said, the sad thing
Broke loader, yeah,
is
broke
I
loader.
had forgot.
Right.
I had forgot that I had cast thousands of these things. I boiled off at least one of the 1,000. I have so many of these, and I can't see scrapping them and recasting them. You know what I mean? And it's like, so
Yeah, for
yeah,
me,
I'm
I
gonna get
just
into the
shoot
whole powder coating thing, but just shoot them. Yeah,
the ones,
it's almost
that
like
are
shooting
already
black
cast
powder.
and
It's so
lubed, go
smoky.
shoot them. Yeah, put a fan behind you.
Jamie, I have a request. Angel wants you to put on those or that banana
hammock.
And she wants you to make a video and label it "The Eagle Has Landed."
My response to that is a man's got to know his limitations.
Yeah. So does the spandex in those shorts.
Yes. I'm more worried about the spandex.
This chat too.
Oh boy.
I'm still working on getting these pictures in here for
Broke
Man,
loader just walked in when we were calling him out. I was talking about your video back, probably the other channel, washing off lube and bullets, and you found that Coleman fuel worked very well.
My son asked me a while back. He says, "What do you call it?" I said, "We always called it white gas."
Mm-hmm.
That's old school terminology, but yeah, it's Coleman fuel.
Yep.
That's what we always called it, white gas.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. Amoco, right? I think it was the Amoco had that.
Yeah, I don't know if it. All I know is the old Coleman stoves. You pumped them up, and they used the fumes from the white gas.
Yep.
And is white gas naphtha? I don't know.
I haven't heard that word naphtha since
I would
my
have to do
grandfather was
the
alive.
chemical. Matter of fact, I'm going to Google that to see.
And my grandfather always had naphtha hanging around the garage. Used it for cleaning everything.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You can't get it anymore.
It's like, all right, you can't get that grease off. Here's some naphtha. Okay.
Well, you know what? You know what?
Everybody says
naphtha soap.
Naphtha. Well, you know what napalm is. You know where the napalm
Everybody
came
says
from naphtha
acetone.
and palm oil.
I was about to say Mike Hester's on it.
Because acetone is one of the better ones you can get today. But, in a couple of years, you won't get acetone anymore. It'll be something else. But there was some better stuff than acetone for sure. Yeah, that's what I thought, Dwayne. Amoco. That's what I remembered.
And we did have a question out there. M. Gabriel was asking why powder coat. The short and simple answer is to stop the lead in the barrel.
Also
Cuts down your
encapsulates the
smoke.
lead, so you don't have to handle
Yep.
the lead quite as much.
Yep. Keeps the lead dust down. There's many good things. You can ID with the colors to ID your loads. You like the color, you like the looks of them, you like Skittles. There's many good reasons. It's cleaner, less smoke.
Gentlemen,
We have
we have a
sighting.
sighting. Count us down, Jamie.
In 3, 2, 1.
Hiya, Mario.
Hey!
What are
The
you
West
doing,
Coast weirdo.
It's the battle
Speaking of
being
which-
his own self.
Where's Mock at tonight?
I know we saw a mock over on Curtis's channel for a little while last night.
That was a good chat. I
Yeah.
finished it up this morning.
What did you? Yeah, it was fun. Preacher showed up and spent a lot of time talking with Preacher last night.
Long time ago.
Moment of silence. Moment of silence, and Jamie put this in the description. It's a good time for a moment of silence because it's Memorial Day weekend. And I'm taking my hat off for all of those who have fallen for this country. Yeah, that's what this day is about. And a lot of people think it's about picnics and camping and vacation, and it's I don't know, it's been lost. It really has. Jamie and I are about the same age.
And this is one thing that
Yeah.
really ticks me off about this weekend is, and it started probably about 2 or 3 days ago. It happens every year. All the sales people, it's not about sales. It's not about money. It's not about this. Simply about remembering those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Period.
Jamie,
Spot
you
on,
won't be able
brother.
to make it over
Spot
on Monday.
As far as I know now.
Oh boy, Dave, what the heck happened to you?
What the heck did you do, Dave?
It was that song playing that got him all riled up.
He saw those undies and fell off the chair.
We have to quit going to the mosh pits and dancing.
All right, so did we finish our first topic for the evening? Did we flesh that out enough?
Probably not, but we'll move on anyway.
You remember who
I'll
asked?
say this to everybody. I'm sorry, I don't mean to walk on anybody. I'll say this to anybody. No matter what topic it is with reloading, and I repeat it, it's a can of worms, and it's experimentation. It's we pass on what we know, what we learn. We could talk about one topic for hours. So, yep. Next topic, I guess.
And just one thing on that note, if there's something that you guys want us to revisit, just let us know and we'll revisit. If there's a specific question or anything, just let us know.
Yeah, that's where the first topic tonight came from. Somebody talked to Jamie or got a hold of Jamie and asked the question. So here we are.
It was from the end of our show last week, and we didn't have time to get into it the way we needed to. So we wanted to talk about it tonight. But to sum it up, there's not nearly as many issues with straight wall and pistol as there is with bottleneck. Your sizing, and when it gets into bottleneck, you can get as far down the rabbit hole as you want. You can start trying to get precision loads where you're shooting holes and holes at 200 yards or whatever, and do the steps. And we can talk about that sometime if you want. But and we just finished up talking about precision. Uh, so, but it never ends. I mean, that's why they call it a rabbit hole. But anybody that's just starting out, I would highly recommend the straight wall pistol cartridges to begin with. Then move uh, into the bottleneck stuff. And I do a good bit of 35 Remington, and it's one of them like 300 Blackout that we've already said that's very small bottleneck. But you also got to remember on those things that they do headspace off of that shoulder. So, particularly with 35 Remington, you need to be careful and take that into account.
I think whoever came up with the term rabbit hole for this entire thing was way off. It's a freaking sinkhole. That thing just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, I know what rabbit hole. It's you go down the hole. It's a never ending. It just, and Jamie hit the nail on the head. It's straight wall, but no matter what you get into reloading, this is my advice. Don't, how can I say this? Do it cautiously. Start with starting loads, follow the procedures, read all that you can, no matter what you're reloading, and don't think, oh, I got this. Because the guy that thinks, I got this, might be the guy that blows his hand off or worse. So, just
on the other end of that spectrum, don't think you can't do it. It does get very confusing, but you can, and I'm proof, you can put some loads together safely that will shoot. They may not be hole in a hole, but they will work. And listening to advice from friends like this, reading a lot, and just being very, very careful. You can do it. It's not in unachievable rocket science.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Look, man, if we all on this panel and a lot of people in the side chat can do it, just a couple. If you got a couple pennies to rub together between your ears, you can get it done.
That's something that I've stressed to people. They ask about reloading and they think it's so complicated, and it's like, yes, it can be, but learn slow, learn the basics, take it slow, ask many questions. This is what this panel is about. We learn from each other. Ask many. Don't get discouraged. Don't think you can't do it because you can. You just got to be smart about it. And you don't have to be a genius. Just be smart about it. So
follow the recipe.
Yeah, I'm living proof you don't have to be a genius to do it.
Ain't that the truth?
No,
and all seriousness,
you made me laugh, and I almost laughed my drink through my nose. Okay.
Years ago, C-Max, and I was talking with him and talking about getting into this stuff, and it was a nerve-wracking thing because, I don't want to blow up my gun. I don't want to do this. I shoot high-power stuff. I don't want to blow stuff up. So, and it was simply just, if you don't do it, it's you'll never pull the handle if you don't make yourself do it. Just do it. and that was pretty much what it came down to. Just buy something simple, start simple, and if you got questions, ask. Um, I probably spent I don't know how many hours on the phone booth with him and many others. Papa Les, Papa's up there, um, and many many others over the years. I've had stuck cases and dies, you name it, and calling people, how do I do this? How do I do that? Um, it's going to happen. It's a process, and stuff's going to happen. Everything's mechanical, just like the firearm is, and you're going to have issues. Just don't be scared of it. Just jump in and do it.
I can interject this. Okay. Old Scotsman there. He's my kid's age. Actually, he's about my daughter's age. I never powder coated before. Yeah, I've got the stuff to do it, but he told me, and look, I've been reloading, as long, well, he was a kid when I started. Point is we can all learn from each other. He has done this. He is powder coated, and he said, when you get into it, let me know. I'll help you out. In other words, listen, learn. Listen to what this person that had this experience, this person had this experience. Listen and learn. And yes, when you get into this, listen to what people say, follow your manuals. Oh, I might blow up my gun. Well, you won't if you follow simple directions. But Scotsman said, I'll help you get into powder coating. And see where I mean? It just, okay, we live and we learn from each other. And that's what this is about, correct?
There are probably literally hundreds of years of experience in everybody on this panel. But, put them all in a basket, and there it is. If you got a question, ask us, and we can find the answer if we don't know it off the top of our head. But if you want to get in, and we created a new reloader when my buddy was here from Vegas. He's been calling me all dang week, wanting to know about this and that. And I said, send me that the Lee scale. I said, send me that. We're gonna blow that up. I said, go ahead and get you another. But we have he watched our chat last week. Matter of fact, he was sitting next to me, and he's like, you know what? Y'all guys know what you're talking about. This really is not that hard, is it? I said, no.
We have a comment out there from Bama Dad. Not to cut you off, Kyle, but it kind of runs in with what you're talking about. He was talking about how he bought a T7 because the Dillon came so out of spec, and it was extremely frustrating for him to set it up. When I got my Dillon 650, I don't know, it's been 4 years, something like that now, 4 or 5 years ago. That thing was a pain in the rear to set up. I had so many issues with it. And you're talking about someone who spent most of his time loading on a Lee, and then jumping into the Dillon, and it was a pain in the rear. It probably took me a good solid 6 months to get it to where it actually started to run across the board. There was all kinds of problems with it.
Scotsman.
So just because you're buying top of the line doesn't mean it's just going to be a walk in the park.
Dillon is an awesome company to deal with. If anybody doesn't know, if you have Dillon Press and you have any kinds of issues, just get a hold of them. They will walk you through everything and anything you could possibly have a problem with. No, don't pull your hair out. Don't go crazy. Don't get all upset. Just call them up. They're awesome. They're awesome. And Chris,
now you tell Scotsman,
right?
Talking about powder coating, Tin Man's got a bunch of videos he's done years ago. Really, really in depth, really good, really great information. I know Walter had a bunch on the old channel. I don't know if he's got any on this one, showing how he powder coats and what he likes and doesn't like and problems he's seen and found. And I also have the same really good, long, informative videos on tips that I found to make it work easier and how and why it works the way I'm showing you. So there's a number of us here in the side chat and on the panel who've got a really good videos on walking you through powder coating.
Well, I'm in YouTube jail right now. So, again, and they pulled down a lot of videos from my channel. So, I mean, if y'all can find something useful, use it. But I can't do anything. So, I don't know what happened. I'm not logging into a whole different Gmail account and all that stuff figured out. I just noticed that I tried to upload something and it said, nope, you're done. I'm not banned. I'm just in jail again.
Well, Kyle, I can tell you this. Our most watched video is when I shot my brother's 6.5 Creed Tactical Savage. First two shots went in the same hole. Okay. That video had 43,000 views. That was our most watched video. And we're only 1,030 subs right now, but it had 43,000 views.
Right.
It's like, wow, that got some traction. This was, I don't know when the video came out, 2-3 years. Well, I went back and then it said we had 33,000 views. Now I can understand how you lose subscribers. How do you lose views? So
exactly.
It's YouTube.
Well, hell, I lost.
They're going to screw you any way they can. It's just YouTube.
All right, we're going to not talk bad about our host, but
right. They might jam us, right?
Yeah, and let me say that these two pictures that I've posted up here of these hollow point mushrooms are from the man of 10 himself. So good work there, 10 man. Thanks for sharing those with us.
Was that
those things worked well?
Was that in gel, powder coated? What were those? That was a good mushroom. Sweet.
He'll have to tell us in the side chat, but and Chad Kelly finally is going to get some gel blocks.
Chad was asking how we lost our hair. Well, Chad, mine's real simple. I dealt with the government for many, many years.
That'll scare it right off the top of your head.
Mine, I just got old.
They ran all the way back.
It happens. People ask me about my head hair, and I say, my hair migrated south and went everywhere I didn't want it to go. My ear, never mind. Yeah.
My answer when anybody talks about bald heads is the good Lord created very few perfect heads. The rest he gave hair.
That's very good. That is very good.
I don't have a bald spot.
The rest is covered up with hair.
My God, Hillbilly, that looks like a mullet. Come on.
Nah,
I won't say anything
I gotta
about
get my
faces
summer
here,
haircut,
boys.
man. Look at that.
Scotsman, I'm going to send Bama Dad your info.
All right. Yeah, that works.
And you can walk him through that case feeder thing.
Yeah, if he's on any kind of issues, I'll help you the best I can, man. Trust me, it can be frustrating, especially with the Dylan. It can be very frustrating at times. And even like when I switched it over to 44 mag and started running 44 mag, dude, just doing that whole changeover was a pain in the rear.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving
it can be
parts
very, very
to that
frustrating.
system.
But I got it down pat now, so we're good.
Hey, Scotsman, you said you started on a Lee. Was that a single stage?
No, that was a lead turret,
Progressive?
man. I didn't buy a single
A
stage.
turret. Okay.
I didn't buy a single stage press until about 2 years ago.
And you use that for precision rifle. I know you.
I use that um, for multiple things, but no, I don't actually use it for precision rifle. That's what I bought it
Well,
for,
no,
but that's
but
what I've used it for.
but you're using your Dillon for pistol, correct?
Mostly, yes.
Yeah. Like I said, I just bought the new Lee Pro 1000 new. The thing works a lot better than my old version, but I, I can say this: Lee has some issues, and I've heard like you guys talking Dillon issue. It's like I've never had a problem with my Lee progressive stuff. There's some things about Lee that are pretty janky, but this seems to work good. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You said you started with Lee. I couldn't remember what we had talked. I couldn't remember what you said you started with, but that's all good. I mean, something, investigate, research before you buy. This is to the chat out there. You know what I mean? It's just, it's like everything else. So many people will think they're going to go out and buy the top of the line gun and be a marksman. Not so much. Having good equipment
it
is,
doesn't work that way.
yeah,
The
good, but
only Lees that I've had issues with, and it was nothing but tinkering issues, is the Lee Loadmaster. I've got one set up for 9mm and 40 because they both use the same shell plate, and one for 223 and 300 blackout because they both use the same shell plate. I had to do a little tinkering with them, a little fine tuning, all that stuff. Now I can just sit there and watch the Andy Griffith show and just run the handle. That's all I got to do.
well, I can tell you this, Kyle. You're right, because I didn't realize this until Lee came out with that 49mm shell plate that's the same. And then I got to looking at the 40 and the not the rim size, but the taper. And then I measured, say, the throat of the taper just above the rim, same as the 9. The tape, no wonder they figured out how it worked. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like it's simple, and that's what I can say about Lee. That, like you said, well, I can say this: they're discs that you're set. You can't. Okay, this is this. Get the micro adjuster. It's like $5, $10. It's just like your regular powder measure. You crank it in and out. 99% of the loads that I load through that, I check them about every 10. They're within 1/10 of a grain. And when you're loading it, okay, say max is 5.5 grains and you're loading at 5. If it's 4.9 or 5.1, you're still under max and it's blasting, plinking. You see where I'm coming from? So it's pistol. I use my Lee Progressive for pistol. Everything else is.
When our buddy Willie,
we're not going to get back into that, but you see what I'm saying.
When our buddy Willie was here, he looked at my Loadmaster and saw I had a Dillon powder measure on it. He said, "How'd you do that?" I said, "Oh, I just tinkered with it. I mean, it's easy. You can do it like this. This is what I did." And because he had a Loadmaster, and he loved the Dillon powder measure because it's pretty much spot on. And I said, "You know what? I'll just send you one." So I sent him one and made a video on how to set it up. And I think YouTube's pulled that down too.
I will say this: Willie used that till the day he died.
Yep.
And we need to move on to our next topic, but first let's give attention to this question right here by M. Gabriel. Do you lose appreciable accuracy using Hornady quick chain system when loading pistol? And Walks Fletcher has the correct answer, if I can find it, right there. Adjust the dies, lock them down, and no. It's
Yeah, as
all
long as you
about
don't change shell holders, it should be the same every time.
right.
You
It's
know, I've
all
always
about
said that. I was just going
it.
to say it's all about how you adjust everything. Follow the yes. Perfect answer. Walks Flesher. Exactly.
It's all about all about setting your dies up and having. The only thing the quick change thing does is make it easier to take it out, put it back in, and go and run it. So let's move on to our second topic. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about Jesse B's got a series on a shotgun that he is uh, refinishing, and I want to say restoring, and I think that's what we want to talk about. There's one in particular issue on that video that I want to talk to Jesse about, and I hope he gets to watch this. Um, and I've invited Jesse knows he has a standing invitation to be on Georgia Shooting Connection anytime he wants. I think the world of Jesse. Um, but he's redoing. He paid $20 for an old. I think he said it was made in 1948. It's an Ithaca Model 37 12 gauge pump shotgun. Well, being the kind of guy that I am, I went and looked up these things, and of course, the only place you could find used and new was that website that none of us buy from. Uh, anyway, what I saw was an old rough one for $225, and then prices going up to like nearly $3,000 for that particular model. And when you get into their side by sides, oh my goodness, you can really run up some money. Like Scotsman and I were on a stream the other night. Somebody brought up LC Smiths, and yeah, those things are pricey if you get a good one. And no, that's not the one.
Anytime you get into old shotguns, the thing you really got to pay attention to is the barrels. The barrels are key to an old shotgun. And I say that because a lot of times, especially like the LC Smiths and the Ithacas, were designed to shoot black powder or originated from black powder. And so you really got to watch those barrels. There may be cracks, there may be hair fractures, all kinds of stuff that can go wrong with these. You got to inspect those barrels. And if you're not qualified to do so, you don't feel comfortable doing so, make sure you take it somewhere and have those inspected before you put anything through them. The prices can be bottom dollar or they can go through the roof. It's easy to do, especially with something like an old Ithaca. Those command a good amount of money if they're in really good shape.
But man, my old Ithaca shoots so darn good. I mean, it's my favorite gun to shoot clay with.
And
Jamie and I
this,
had a conversation earlier about Ithacas, and it's exactly what Scotsman just said. They can be skyrocket, bottom, and all I can say is I did mention to Jamie a name in our side chat. I don't know. I do know that they're up in New York. We won't mention their name. I don't know who you were talking about, but they have a lot of oddball stuff. But Scotsman, you're exactly right. When it comes to the old shotguns, my older brother, not my younger brother that you've shot with, he said he was at some gun show, some weird shotgun. He said, come to find out it was like 8 gauge, beautiful. And he almost bought it, but he didn't. And I said, would you, oh no, that just, something. I'd feel nervous shooting modern ammo out of some of that stuff, but so I honestly, I'm gonna have to check that out and see his journey on this because I want to see that shotgun. And it's one of those things. If it's not in my hand and I can't look at it, and you know what I mean. So, but interesting journey, that's for sure.
Well, let me address this comment right here, Tommy Boy, and this goes for most older shotguns or older rifles, all of it. Serial numbers may not be in the spot you expect it to be. So, trust me, I've had over the years seen many that have come into the shop that I've been in and worked in over the years that they took it in thinking there was nothing when there was something, or they took it in thinking it was one thing when it was another thing. You got to know where to look, and there's plenty of information out there as far as books and stuff goes. But a lot of them didn't have serial numbers, but some of them did, and you just got to know where to look. So if you don't see something right away, just keep on looking because it may be. You never know.
Yeah, take the buttstock off.
Yep. There's all kinds of places they used to put numbers, and especially like military rifles, for example, old surplus military rifles. Man, they put numbers all over the place.
What you need to remember is it wasn't required before 68. So any numbering done was often just for the manufacturer to keep a tally. It wasn't done for, any other reason. So that's why a lot of times you never had. They're just cheap guns. They just never put them on. Everybody had a 22. It's not an expensive gun. There was no reason to keep track of them. But any of the better guns would have them, and they put them in obscure places because it was kind of ugly. It didn't. Who wants to see numbers on a gun? It was they stuck them underneath things, behind things, and like Scotsman said, pull the stock off, and oftentimes you'll find them on the tang there, in the shotguns, in the old shotguns.
And the reason they did a lot of that too is it was pairing things together. So the barrel with the receiver and everything else, they had them all numbered, but they didn't want you to see the numbers.
I was just going to say that's exactly right. That's why the manufacturers did that, was for their benefit, not the government. But the government said, hey, there's numbers. And yeah, we won't get into that one, right?
Yeah, matching the stuff back up is important, and you see that a lot in mill serps. Absolutely, but yeah, I would, after doing some research on that. Uh, there's Duffer, welcome in, brother. After doing some research on that shotgun, I'm going to try to encourage Jesse to go back and do as good a job on that gun as he possibly can do, and he's got he's got a good base. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's all pretty solid as far as the receiver and the barrel's concerned.
Barrel looked good.
Yeah, but there's some parts that uh, fitment type stuff like C&T Design and Arms is saying down there that he's got to deal with, and any way I can help him, I will. And a little bit out of my territory, but I'm getting into shotguns more and more as I get older. Uh,
Jamie, can I mention this? That we talked earlier. You said about him rethreading, and I would like to see the gun. I would like to see what it is, and I would like to give my advice. Don't mess up a vintage thing, or you know what I mean. And we talk about guns like car guys talk about vintage cars. You know what I mean? And it's like if you get a vintage piece like that, you really don't want to mess it up. So I
Well,
I I need to check out what that project is for
and
sure.
one thing I'll say in response to that, A&A, is that it's his. This it's America. He bought it. He paid $20 for it, and it was a basket case when he got it. So anything he does is going to be an improvement. Uh, but yeah, after seeing some of the stuff I saw when I was doing some Google searches, there's just some absolutely gorgeous 37s out there, and I know Mark's a shotgun guy, and he ain't been saying much. I know Hillbilly's a shotgun guy as well, but Scotsman just knows a lot of stuff because he had to learn about it, and when he was working in the industry the way he did. And um, I know CW does a lot of shotgun stuff as well. But Mark, what's your take? You got anything to say about it? Have you seen the videos first?
Yeah, I didn't get to see the most recent one, but boy, I'd really love to see him bring that back to its former glory. Whether he's got to have maybe even a little bit of welding done on those holes that were drilled out, and then retap them, it would just it would break my heart to see something be done to that thing to not make it what it was.
I
The
agree.
thing that worries me is if he welds. Um, you talked about Scotsman's experience. I worked in a gun shop for 9 years, lived in front of the range, was a welder and a fabricator. I did a lot of things, and metallurgy is a funny thing. If you're going to weld something, you're going to change the temper. And so I think Jamie's idea was drill it out a little bit, retap it. Yeah, don't you start welding, gets kind of scary,
Yeah,
especially
Yeah,
on
but
old
those
vintage
holes were
things. So,
pretty
but
ugly.
yes, yeah.
yeah, you can
So,
braise them and not change that temperature and stuff. There's lots of ways around it.
brazing is brass soldering.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it'll
this
hold
should
a
be
thread though.
this should be
Yep,
TIG
yep. You
welded.
don't have to get it that hot.
Yeah, yeah,
I think this should be
So,
TIG welded and re-drilled,
ooh,
that'll work.
buffed really clean, and then re-blued so you wouldn't know it was there, and then thread those holes back in like they were original and put
Well,
in original
and
screws.
Jesse's not super far. He's like 3.5 hours or whatever. If he needs help, I can always get a hold of him. He's got my number too. I'll have to shoot him a text
well,
because I haven't seen the videos. I'm guessing YouTube
Scotsman,
correct me again.
is that
He's
two and
like,
a half hours from you to the east to the west? Because I'm 2.5 hours to the west of you. So
He's
I
south
just
of me,
wondered.
man. He's south,
Oh,
he's
south.
about 20 minutes from me.
but he's a good dude. I'm guessing YouTube unsubbed me again. I don't know how many times it's happened with his channel, but for some reason his channel keeps disappearing. But uh, I'll get a hold of him. I'll talk to him.
Mark's like combing his beard. Scotsman, comb your beard. Come on, I want to see it.
You got to, man.
Ah, there it is.
It's a
You know, I
natural
just shaved.
thing.
I just shaved. I'm going to turn my camera off. I just shaved every. Yeah, it's gone. I just got this. I had a good one going, and I went, I'm sick of it. So,
Yeah,
not as long as your guys. It was only like.
Whenever you get into things like drilling on a gun or doing this or doing that, it can get sketchy. And trust me, I've had some uncomfortable moments over the years of doing some stuff, and so I get it. And if anyone's out there and they're somewhat in the close vicinity, I'll help you the best I can. But it's definitely always something sketchy and nerve wracking when you start into a gun, especially an old
Well, I
gun.
could say this. I learned a lot real fast. What not to do. So, yeah.
Well,
And like you said, Scotsman, pass on the wisdom that we've learned through experience. You know what I mean?
what I would do first and foremost is just retap that hole, Mark. I would then if it needed more work, that's what I'd do too.
Yeah, they look pretty boogered up to me. I thought they were drilled out beyond. I might be
The
wrong.
size, the size of the
Yeah.
screw. Yeah. If I
Well,
did that, I would color case harden that receiver. I'd get that mag rail off, and I'd do what I had to do to that receiver to get those set screws back in there, and then I would color case send it off and have it color case hardened. But
um,
that's just me spending a bunch of money on a $20 shotgun.
um,
Well, I think we've all done it. I mean, I know I've done it multiple times. I started out doing a project and expected to spend $400 or $500, and the next thing I know, I got $2,000 in it.
Well,
You know, we don't do things half-ass.
I never ever keep receipts when I buy parts. I don't. I throw them away. I don't want to know. I
right.
want to know what I'm looking at my end product. I'm not looking at the nickel dime.
And that's my point, Hot Pot. Too much of the time when I'm doing some of this kind of work, uh, I look at the end. I look at the end rather than the steps. In other words, I tend to look at what it can be and what I want it to be more than I look at what it was when I bought it or what it is right now. And
Well, a good example of something like that is okay. So I bought a uh, budget AK years ago. That's been a couple years now. And one of the reasons I bought the AK was because I won Otenda's giveaway years ago for an AK stuff. And so I had a huge box of stuff for an AK. I put a Geisley trigger in there, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that, a month ago. And I had multiple people giving me different options for triggers, this, that, the other. And I didn't want to just go bottom dollar. I wanted something that was going to be on the point because that particular rifle has meaning, and that rifle is a might as well be dedication rifle. So there's a lot done to it, and I'll show you guys here soon. But my point is when we do stuff like this, we go in fully expecting to spend a lot of money on stuff. We don't want to always know what we're going to spend, but we have an idea of what's going to happen when we start doing these projects. I have a 1911 build I'm working on. Thanks to someone out there, and you guys will find out about some of that later on. But just the slide alone that I'm looking at is $400. You know, it can get up there real quick.
that's what we run into when we start restoring something. So we've still got 50 people watching. Thank y'all, side chat. It's time for us to go through the panel, tell y'all good night, tell you what to be looking for us this coming week, and clear the deck for Gizzard Gary, who will start at 10 o'clock. Scotsman, go ahead. You were doing so well. Tell us what you got coming up this week.
Well, I got to call the internet company. I didn't get there this week. I had a lot of problems with my back this week, so I apologize, guys. I was trying to do another video for the other channel, didn't get there with my back issues, but feeling a little bit better now, so we'll get something done here soon. I already know what the video is going to be. I'm not going to spoil it, so be looking for that. But yeah, I got to get a hold of the internet company and figure out some stuff there. But I appreciate being on. Always good seeing everyone out there. We've got a great chat. Lots of action out there in the side chat. To all the new people out there that's jumped over, welcome. We appreciate you. And to everyone that's doing VRs for the man, I don't know, we're somewhere up here.
He's over there.
I hate these cameras, how they work. There we go. So that way. To the man all the way up there. I appreciate you guys doing that. He deserves every last one of them, and then some. So I really do appreciate that, guys, and thank you. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Yo, Billy.
Thanks, brother.
Hey. Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys so much for having me on. It's always a blast. I mean, look forward to it every Friday night. I mean, it just really makes my weekend, off to a good start. I learned so much here. I don't reload yet, but I got a book that, like, I've been taking notes while I've been watching this, Georgia Shooting Connection and other people that's on the panel and stuff that reload. And so I got all kinds of notes. I got, like, when I'm ready to start reloading, which I hope it's soon, it's because all you guys, I mean, I'm taking all advantage of this awesome, knowledge and wisdom that y'all have. And I thank you so much for that. I really do. I enjoy it so much. And man, I got videos coming out. I actually a lot of them. I mean, I got some stuff coming out with a High Point, with Keltec PMR 30. Let's see, some more Rossi videos. I mean, I'm just having a blast making these, and I hope you guys enjoy watching them. I am less than 50 subscribers away from my next big giveaway at 750 subs. So we'll be celebrating that. Hopefully not too long, but the one I'm really excited about is Jamie, his 1,000 sub giveaway. So I know there's several of us. Scotsman, he kind of started this, and we're gonna be giving away so much stuff for Jamie on his, so I'm super excited about that when it comes. I mean, I just really am excited, honestly. Guys, all the people on this channel are great. Go check out the channel, subscribe to them, subscribe to the Georgia Shooting Connection. This is an awesome channel. Please support it. I have a Saturday night chat tomorrow night, Guns, Beer, and Therapy. It's at 9 o'clock Central. So if you can make it, sure like to have you on there. And I just want to thank you all.
Thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for sharing some of your Friday night with us.
You betcha, man.
And if you guys hadn't watched the Guns, Beer, and Therapy thing, it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty fun time. So, Mark Thomas, what you got coming up this week, brother?
Well, a couple of things. I do want to thank, of course, Georgia Shooting Connection for having me as a panel member. Thanks to the side chat. It's been rocking all night, doing some real good stuff. I have some bullet molds that I need to do some work on, and a little bit of casting. I have been itching to get back in there. I have a few holsters I need to make, some orders that I need to fulfill, and I think my son and I are going to do a little bit of airsoft this weekend, maybe, and Monday maybe we'll try to do a little bit of recognizing Memorial Day, and maybe a little recreation, do a little, I don't know, fishing or something. Just going to look forward to a good week ahead. and we're both looking forward to summer vacation. Thank you.
I know my wife is too, man. I work for a school system, so when the kids get out, I don't get off. I have to keep working. It's our busiest time of the year. But thanks for being here, Mark. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
And we appreciate getting to look at that magnificent beard for a couple of hours on Friday night.
You too.
Yeah.
I will say this real quick. Mark has come a long way, man, with that beard. That beard is freaking awesome.
Quick. Quick.
I did have a little work done to it the other day. Just cleaned it up some.
If you do that, you'll have to wear Speedos.
No.
The eagle has landed.
Even with that beautiful eagle, there's not a big enough pecker on there.
Easy now. Here we go. What's up, Hot Pot?
Oh, he had to go there, didn't he?
Yes, I did.
This guy over here, man. I don't know what to do with him sometimes. Well, it was a good class tonight. I had a lot of fun with all the professors on the channel and in the side chat. Definitely, man. I'm just an apprentice of life. So any information I get, and just give it to me. Feed it, feed it, feed it. And thanks for having me on. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, everybody, let's get Jamie up to 1,000 subs because I've got some nifty little neato prizes to give away for that. I think everybody's going to really enjoy it, as well as other people contributing. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully soon. Come on, let's pump him up. That's all I got.
Y'all are awesome. I've been sitting right at around 800 for a long, long time. Scotsman comes out with a video as I'm finally getting close to 900, and all of a sudden I'm up to, there's 964 of you guys at the moment's what I think Tim S. said. So that's awesome, guys. I appreciate y'all more than I can ever say. Mr. Otis, you need Barney to tuck you in tonight?
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt probably. Well, I'm happy to be here as always. I always appreciate the invitation to take part with a panel. It's a great bunch of people, and we do all learn from each other all the time. The day doesn't go by when I don't learn something new about shooting, casting, or reloading. And there's a number of folks down there in the side chat that are always real helpful as well. It's not just us. So you kind of got a lot to pay attention to when you log in here to Georgia Shooting Connection, and I'm just real proud and happy to be part of it. So coming up for me, the second edition of the Henrys and Handguns will drop later tonight. It's going to get uploaded as soon as we get off of here, and I got bandwidth to do that, and it's 357 time, so we got a nice Cimarron revolver to shoot with the Henry 357. So that'll pop up tonight, or you guys probably see it tomorrow. It'll only be on Rumble at the moment, but I should get out of YouTube jail this weekend, so it'll post over to YouTube as well Monday, along with Moldy Monday number 13. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to handle it on YouTube, but I'm going to at least have an announcement about it. I may not show much of the video. I have to say, just go find me over on Rumble, which you can do if you just go to the rumble.com and type in hashtag Moldy Monday, all rolled together in one word. My channel will show up over there, all of those. So that's kind of what I got going on. I'm going shooting tomorrow. And just to kind of play, I've got some video to shoot there, and I'm working on another video with the Lee app or APP press to just kind of highlight some of the hacks and tips that I've figured out and learned from other folks along the way, and put it all together in one spot. So that'll get done probably next week. I'm using that as an excuse to get I had something like 3,000 cases that needed to be signed or sized, a bunch of 38s and some 44s and 45 ACPs. So I got to motorize that. But anyway, so that's what I got going on. Let's where are we going to go here? Up to this guy? Go up and tickle that beard up there a little bit.
No, let's go to A&A next.
Oh, he's back down there. Okay.
Yeah.
There he is.
So
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
yes, sir.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Well, I don't know why my old janky laptop just decided to kick me off. I'm on my phone. But hey, thanks for having me. I had fun. Always a good conversation, and we learn so much from each other. This is why we do this, and I hope that the audience listens to our banter back and forth, but gains some knowledge from it, because we gain knowledge from each other. Like I was talking earlier, got to get with Scotsman. He's been powder coating bullets longer than me. I've never tried it. I've been reloading longer than it. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And this is why we do this. My greeting as always, peace to all, stay 2A strong. Thanks for having me, Jamie. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I said it earlier, remember what this weekend's about.
Thanks for being here, buddy. We appreciate you. And
my pleasure.
Kyle, what you got coming up this week?
Actually, tomorrow I'm firing up the hot pot, and since we made a new reloader, I'm gonna send him out a bunch of 40 cal bullets and 38 special 357 bullets, thanks to CW's molds, and gonna get that all sent out. He sent me in some hot sauce. He brought some over here, and I thought it was really good. And he said, "I'll send you a care package when I get home." So it may be sitting out in the mailbox. I don't know. I hadn't checked it. The yard guy left a little bit ago, and tomorrow's going to be a casting Saturday, but I can't show any of it.
Feel your pain.
I should be out of YouTube jail on Friday, I think. Hopefully, Jamie can make it over here on Monday, and we'll go over and do our thing, and I'll make a video on it and wait to post it. Other than that, I really got nothing.
Well, man, I appreciate you being here like always. And it's taken us 10 minutes to go through the room. So
I know, and I thank everybody on the panel. And AA, it was great to see you face to face. We've been cutting up for how many years has it been? But it was good to see everybody. Good to see the side chat, and once again, thanks for a great Friday evening.
Thanks, man. CW, what do you got coming up this week?
I'm going to have a video on this little bugger right here. And you'll see that when you watch the video. We'll blow it up.
Ouch.
Little bugger. So that'll be happening. I got some editing to do, and that'll be happening.
What is that?
Leave it on. I want to thank the panel, thank all the people in the side chat. It was a really good chat. Good to meet Chris. Put a face to the name. It's always good. And I hope you had a good time. And I think we had a pretty good chat.
Thanks, brother.
Always a pleasure.
I'm going to do a video this week, hopefully for the weekend. And actually, I taped most of it when I was doing my last video, but I've got some of these NOE neck sizing things. Um, these little things. Well, you can't even see them.
Expanders.
There you go. Expanders, yeah, that's the word. Yeah, so CW did a great video on the ones that the powder through. These are not powder through, so I'm going to do a video on these and talk about the differences, and that ought to be a fun thing. Then I think by popular demand, we're going to start a 308 load series. Everybody seemed to want to see that, so I'll be looking for input from you guys. But Gary, I'm sorry we ran over saying goodnight. Y'all watch. Make sure you watch G23 tomorrow. Caliber Corner at 9 a.m. tomorrow Eastern. Scotsman on Sunday night. Uncle Jim at Saturday night at 8. Uh, Hillbilly up at 10. Um, and so many more. I shouldn't call any if I can't call them all. So I want to say thank all you guys for watching. I want to thank the panel for being here. You guys are awesome. And we just hope that the Lord will bless you all real good. And if He's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.